Blood.
Storm of Ink and Blood is book 3, and book 4 is Queen of Shadows and Ruin. That one we like move into a whole new setting. So the first 2 books and take place in one area of the world, and then in the 3rd book we see it a few months later, and the love interests are separated. She's now moved to a whole other area of the continent that they're in, and she's sort of met new people, and they're sort of it's sort of a split from the main storyline in a way. Of course, it will come back to the main storyline eventually, but we're sort of branching off a little bit, where she's sort of now out on her own. She's away from the guardian that raised her, really discovering herself and learning more about her. This is now where like the romantic relationship will resolve itself, where they're going to like, overcome what they went through in book 2, and figure their thing figure their crap out, and then it ends on a bit of a little cliffhanger. It's not a terrible one. Sometimes I like to hit with really bad cliffhangers, but this one's not too bad. I wanted something high concept, something that was like easy to just be like, so Bachelor meets the Hunger Games is sort of how I've been pitching this for, I don't know how it's been out for almost 2 years now. And I wanted a contest, and I was like, competing for a king, sure, that sounds kind of fun. There's a popular trope in romantasy where there's like the fake out love interest where like the first guy is not the guy, and I love that trope, so I really wanted to play with that. So you meet the Sun King, and anyone who's read this genre a lot is already questioning, like, is this the guy? Because you also meet another guy and you're like, is that the guy? So I was playing with that idea a lot. And I don't know, I tend to be a pantser. I don't do a lot of plotting up front. So the story I'm discovering it as I'm writing it. I knew I wanted, I decided on 4 trials because that seemed doable within the space of a book. The tricky part was coming up with 4 different tests that felt different enough, and that felt like each tested something unique, like a different skill of some kind. So like that was fun. Some of them I just came up with, some of them were sort of inspired by something I'd seen. So the first one is they are like suspended on ropes over water with like these like monsters, these like shadowy monsters underneath that they can't see, and they have to answer like trivia questions about the kingdom they're in. And the tricky part is because like our main character, she's not from this place, so she knows nothing about Aphelion, which is the kingdom that they're in. So she has to like cram study for 2 days before, while like all the other 9 tributes have all, they've been trained and they've been raised to like know all of these answers, and she has no idea what she's doing. So, and then every time they get an answer wrong, the rope drops a little bit and they have to like try and anyway, so you fall into the water and you have to swim away from these deadly creatures that are in there. So that one was fun. And then the next one was a massive gauntlet, which was inspired. I don't know if you've watched The Witcher on Netflix. There was like a scene where Ciri's like training on this little mini gauntlet, and I was like, all right. So I took that and I made it way bigger, and then I suspended it over a pit with another deadly monster inside of it. So if you fall off the gauntlet, then the monster will eat you. So basically there was that. And then the third one was like, meant to test your wiles and your wit. And you had to like, you were given a mark, and they had like a special object, like a jewelry or something that was important to them, and you had to convince them to give it to you. And that's when Lore, the main character, ends up meeting Nadir, who then has to ask for his ring. Nadir, who ends up being the main love interest. I mean, that's if you've seen any of my art, it's not really that much of a spoiler. But and then Atlas, who's the Sun King, sees her with him because, I mean, I won't get into the whole story, but anyways, he ends up canceling that trial, and they end up moving to the last one, which sees them all like on a ledge in the cold. They're on a mountain in the middle of nowhere. They have no idea what to do, and they end up sort of in an Alice in Wonderland sort of inspired like hedge maze where they have to like get to the end. Yeah, I don't know. Those were fun to write. There are queens in my world, there are kings in my world, and they have equal power. It just depends on which realm we're talking about. There are also queendoms and there are kingdoms also. And I mean, one of them is my mountain queendom. She's married to a woman. Like they're not, there's all anything goes. In my world, people who have imperial magic are the sort of like the upper echelons of each realm, and those are usually the royals, and they each have their own sort of a unique power. So they have, in her case, she has lightning power, this red lightning power, and like Nadir is from the Aurora, so he has Aurora light magic. Atlas, who's the Sun King, he has illusion magic, for example. Yeah, so it was fun.